welcome to our Blitzmarmelade podcast. We have a very special guest today, Toomas, founder of many great companies, Estonian entrepreneur, world traveler, and a lot more, which we are going to explore in this special Blitzmarmelade podcast. On my side is always Marcus. It's Alex and Marcus. Toomas, nice to have you. And in the pre-session to the recording, we just had a wonderful and great discussion about why we are digital natives, growing up with tech and everything. And you responded. I think you wanted to respond a little bit to that. So then just jump into that.
Yeah. Well. Sorry, we didn't start to record before, but but yes, we went away right away with a simple question: how are you? And so yeah, as we discussed, our generation is brave, bulletproof, and grew up with internet. So not to dismiss any other age groups, but we, just as a background. We found out with Alexander and I have 2 days age difference. We're turning 49 this year, and Marcus is 1 year younger. So he's the young boy in the group. So how many times have you heard that lately? But yes, but overall, when we talk about how we grew up with the internet and overall the technology and how it went, I mean, Back to the Future movie predicted what will be coming, but really came a lot more, and in some part a lot less. But it predicted where our lives will go. So at the moment when we look at the people who are really not spoiled with the old ways, old guys like we are, then there's a few good examples what they think. And a friend of mine has a kid in school and was reading a book that was assigned by his teacher, and asking mom about a section in a book that said that this character went outside to the corner of the street to make a phone call. And this kid asked mom, what? They didn't have coverage at home? So really, at the time, their only phone was standing outside at the street corner. And another thing that is interesting is that, you know, the call button in your phone.
Yes.
Well, everybody knows. We know what it is. Young people don't have a question. Why is the banana marking the call?
True.
They have never seen a handheld phone. And by the way, talking about phone, how would you describe a normal phone like we all use? If you call it a smartphone or mobile phone, then you're old.
How is it called?
It's phone.
It's phone.
Because we know that there was a landline. You couldn't take you, so we call it like a mobile phone. Then you can do many stuff on it. Then we started calling it a smartphone. At the moment, young people, when they look at this, they don't know any other. They have never seen a line phone. They don't know any phone that doesn't do stuff. So for them, they don't need a prefix. It's just a phone. So if you want to seem like a young guy, then call it phone, not smartphone.
I just met a young guy that called it his phone, and he's working, but he does not have a laptop. He's doing all his work on his phone. He's like a social media entrepreneur, and he's just on the phone, which is like, I think, the next evolution of it. And I do some work on the phone as well, but only having a phone and not even having a laptop and a bigger screen is something I need a little bit time to adapt to it. Let's say it that way.
I'm ahead of you. I'm using only phone, but I use my computer. At the moment, I'm using it, but I'm using it only to make a presentation or a mock-up of a site or an Excel sheet. Everything else is on my phone.
Well, I still have 2 days to adapt.
Well, I have to admit, I'm really still working preferably on a laptop, because if I use my mobile, I have to admit my fingers are too fat. I'm really too slow. I always hit the wrong button. So, I mean, I have everything on it and it's synced, but doing really work, it's preferably the laptop, because then I get to full speed, not with my phone.
True. But when we go to social media, Facebook is for grandparents already.
True.
So,
yeah.
And young people don't want to be there if moms, dads, and teachers are there.
Yeah, that's why I stopped with Facebook.
So your kids can use, but
again, no. Like,
yeah, but the life is going really great, and the evolved business model is something that, I don't know, Darwin didn't think about. I mean, so fast. It's mind-boggling fast. Look at this new AI chat that came out.
ChatGPT.
I have already generated a new startup brand name with it. Okay. I asked, generate the brand name for this kind of app. It generated me about 10 of them. One of them was free. I registered it. So,
what's the startup about, if we may ask?
It's a bit too early.
Stealth mode? Oh, still stealth mode. We will keep you updated on that. Sure. Marcus is using ChatGPT for his posts at the moment.
From time to time. And I really got mixed experiences. I needed a short text about yearly reflections, etc. And it came out perfectly. I think I added 2 or 3 words, but didn't need to change anything, just adding something. And when I now wanted to write a post about a new app by Apple, Freeform, I thought, okay, come on, give me a text. It was not possible, because it said, well, I have been trained based on this and this data. I don't have any information about new products. So,
oh yeah, it says it's based on 2021 data or something.
But it was interesting also coming to the limits of this AI, but it is so amazing seeing what it really is able to do. And but I had a creative session earlier this morning where we had to work on challenges, and mine was creating a magazine for poor people. And I thought, and with a maximum production time of 3 hours. So I thought, well, why spend time on writing text? Get topics, have the AI write the text around this topic, and you have your magazine. So I think the next step for all of us is now to think really about, okay, what could be the business model you can make out of it? And how will it affect your current business model as well?
Yeah, that's interesting. This chat generated a really, really nice poem that I wanted to put on a birthday card. Okay. So with the name, I gave a little bit of background, mother of 2, the name, and a little bit info more, generate the short poem. It was so beautiful that this girl had a tear in her eye. So it's useful not only for tech and business, but if you have anniversary and you don't know what to say, well,
go for it.
I need to
have a little.
We have a friend, Benjamin Dehand, who's exploring like the AI art piece, like with graphics and pictures and so on. So with DALL-E and Midsummer and all of these kind of things. And I had a chat with someone else about what is the part of the artist then? And what is art in that sense, if like AI can generate art, and is this art? And especially in Germany, you know, Germans are always a little bit grumpy and don't like the new stuff sometimes. They are like really opposing this and saying, no, this is not art, and we are against AI and all of this. But I think like with like text creating and picture creating, I already think about what what can be done in e-commerce with that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That, like, I think there's some really nice business models will evolve exactly around that.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you look at what is art and what is artist, AI is intelligent that has been taught to do something. How is it different from person? I mean, if in that sense, the only artist can be a 1-year-old baby, because they don't have anything in the background. I mean, if you tell a blank computer to draw a picture, it probably will be a circle. But AI is a computer that has some training, like an artist who has some training. Of course, there is some kind of art that seems like there's no training behind it, but this is to the eyes of who's looking. But anyway, I think we shouldn't be afraid of AI. We should embrace it. Of course, when we look at the famous movies like Terminator and all that stuff, that scares us. But I think we can be smart about it. I mean, this can only help us go faster and evolve better. I don't know how much faster we can go, but I guess we can.
So, in regards to the faster, I heard in a speech of someone that in 2050 we will generate so much knowledge in one day than we have actually produced in all our lifetime until the year 2000. So, like, the knowledge that we will have, as well, with all the things and that we will create, it will evolve and evolve and evolve even more, and it will go accelerate and go even faster. But let me add a question, because I think that's interesting. You said you have to embrace, like, AI and those new things, which I really like. But I think that's kind of your mindset as well, like when going into digital spaces and when like building companies and so on, which you have done a lot. Then this is the important thing, I think, or one important thing, to have this kind of mindset, right?
Yeah, well, one thing, the reason why a lot of people, entrepreneurs, started to look into the AI part was that when there was a thing with investors, when you added AI, this magical 2 letters into your tech, you got money. If you didn't add it, then you could get it, but AI was like a magic inside your tech. So, and everybody knew about it, that investors are looking into the AI. So no matter what you did, you had to think about the AI, how to implement AI into your startup. And not because you had initial thought about AI, but really came like from another angle. You wanted to get investors involved. You knew that investors want to invest into things that have AI working on it. So you implemented AI into your tech and your thought process and added it. So right now, the AI involvement in startup world is partly really rapid because it was implemented in everything. So, but what is AI really? I mean, simple personalization in e-commerce. This is AI as well. I mean, it's not as complex as we were just talking about making a poem or a picture, but it's still an AI. So, and personalization, I admire TikTok. People say that it's an evil thing that monitors what we do, but come on, this is probably the best personalization I have ever seen. The content in it.
Yeah, it's an awesome experience, and I really like using it, and I really like making some videos on my own. Yeah,
so it's fantastic. I mean, if you're afraid, put it in a, I don't know, blank phone and just try it. If you look, if somebody is interested into the tech and where the world is going and how the personalization and AI is evolving, then put it in a blank phone if people are afraid of some big country spying on you. But how it's done, it's amazing.
It is.
And I've read that the biggest difference with personalization, if I may comment on it a bit, is that like Facebook, Instagram, they look you and look your friends, and they try to put together what you and your friends like and show you also what your friends like. TikTok only looks at you. That's the biggest difference.
And maybe the next
they
step.
They don't care what your friends do, because you are not your friend. So they show you only what you're looking. I was a part of, we talk about what we have done. So I was part of establishing a company called Find Fashion. It's already working. It makes an AI-based picture search, no text. So it's a fantastic idea, because you don't need to write anything down to search. You go through pictures and you zoom in, zoom out. This saves everything and calculates what you like. Every time you go back, you have a new new products on your page, and it's made for fashion, but it's now going to furniture and lamps and all that stuff. Everything that is design. But because imagine you want to buy, or somebody wants to buy a dress, and every dress have their own style name. You have no idea how to call it, but you know what you like. How would you search it in a search bar? Impossible. So when we made it, at first when we were brainstorming, we said that we want people to find Gothic style golf shoes in 30 seconds. It's achieved now. It's working. So
how does
it's
it
now
work?
rebranded to Miros as it's going away from fashion as well.
Okay, how is it working? Like that, you see something on the internet, you say that picture, and then it looks for you, or do you upload a picture, or you make a picture of some shoes?
No. That's the standard, is that you have a picture, or you upload a picture and say, find me something similar. No, you start clicking and looking, same like TikTok.
Okay.
So it knows in 1 minute what you're looking for.
Fascinating.
So you find something, you click on it, that's similar what you like, you go back, it already rearrange everything. So I'm not involved with this anymore, so I don't know exactly what's going on it right at the moment, but ahead of it is Heikki Halbe, who was also one brains behind Fits Me that was sold to Rakuten. So with Heikki, we are good friends, and we brainstorm sometimes over a glass of beverage.
And then new startup ideas start popping out.
Yes.
You should check that creativity method as well, more often.
But yeah, it's that's how life goes, and this is AI at its best. I mean, it's helpful. It solves a problem, more than €1 billion market. So things like that come from your own needs. We want to, like, I want to buy a jacket. How do I find a jacket that I like? They call them Bombay or whatever. There's so many things. When you go to some site and you look at the styles, what you're looking for, I have no idea what they are. I'm buying a jacket once a year. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good thing. I think about so we are thinking often about creativity methodologies and how to do new products with design thinking. The podcast is partly about that, of course. If you have an idea, how do you start? I mean, do you just go into a brainstorming? Do you look for a team? Do you look for 2 to 3 people and get the movement started? So how do you bring it on the street?
Really, I never brainstorm to make up an idea what to do. Usually the need to do something comes from your own life or from the lives of your close people. There's always, if you make a new startup, there has to be a problem to solve. And in order to succeed in it, it needs to solve your own problem. If I start to make an app for somebody in Africa, in some village that I've read the news that they have problem with something, it will never succeed. I don't know anything about it. I mean, if I have a problem, I might not know anything about it, but I start solving it. Then start solving. I scribble a little bit. I have some programs that I just draw in it, and I maybe I start with my ideas a bit differently. I have the idea and the problems. We talk with the team. Usually, I'm not alone. And I like to also sometimes just use some programs to make like a mock-up of what I'm thinking. Just like click, like I use Adobe XD or something, just to see how it works without any functions. And then ideas start coming from there. Because if you see something and you already can click something, oh, but why shouldn't it do that? We would have never thought about this if you wouldn't have the clickable thing in it. So, and but this also comes when the idea is there. I have one more startup coming that is in the stage at the moment where we are we don't even have a tech together, not even the description. Everything is here and some scribbles. And planning to get it out in 6 months. So, and it's something that that is a problem for me, has been also. I mean, I opened the curtain a little bit. The problem is that in my family, my own relative family, my family, there's only my sister and one of her daughters alive. Everybody else in my family have perished. Young, old, everybody. And the problem is that when something like this happens, your mind goes blank if the person is close to you. You have no idea what to do. So right now I'm doing an app that helps you do to focus and to step by step what needs to be done.
So you bring out, you have the idea in your mind, you do some mock-up visualization, love that. You discuss that in a team with some people, and then ideas popping up. I guess then you have to do the tech somehow. So like some people have to do the hard stuff. And there's amazing tools out there for that. So we are like always advocates of testing and experiments and doing. So how do you get it? Do you do the same, or is it, say, you bring it out to the market and then it's it? I don't think so. But...
No. It's also first of all, if you do the MVP at first with your own money, usually, then this involves also testing. If you don't have much money to put behind it, then you do it with your friends. I mean, there's ways to do it. Then validate with talking everywhere about it. What do you think? So you advocate your own idea and you ask, and sometimes you get good feedback. Sometimes you have to change something. When you have it done, then and you get the first maybe the A round or some investor coming in, usually the small ones at first, then you can do some heavy testing on it. And validation of your idea. But if you already get somebody behind it, then you already put your own money in it, then the validation needs to be there already. I mean, maybe not the full validation to go and conquer the world, but validation that it's needed. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. If it solves only two people problems, then it's validated for them, but not for anybody else. There's no point doing it. But what I love about startup, that even if you launch it and you see that something is not working, you change it right away and you see the effects. You can do A/B. You see the effects right away. And this is what I absolutely admire in startup world compared to the corporate world. Because, well, let's say startup is a small speedboat, and the corporate big company is a huge cargo ship. When the speedboat needs to turn, you turn and you go there. And the corporation, this big cargo ship, they turn and the boat turns in 25 minutes. So that's the difference of the businesses. And so if I'm lucky to be in like a mid-size at the moment, like not the huge cargo ship, but it turns slowly. But at the same time, I'm involved with startups, and also I'm involved with my two hobby Thai restaurants. So I can see
the hobby Thai restaurant is fantastic, by the way. It's a real fantastic Thai cuisine in Tallinn. If you be there, you have to go there. Ask me, I send you the link. Just on that.
Okay, I didn't plan to do any advertisement here, but
Alex, no problem.
But yes, but when you see those things, that this really fast startup world and the mid-range big-ish corporation, how things are working, I think if I would only work in big corporations, I would be in madhouse already. I need to see the result of what I'm doing. So I get those results from startups and my restaurants, and the big strategies and this corporate world. This is also interesting. It's really interesting, but it sometimes just need to go faster.
Yeah,
and it makes me like anxious. Why can't we do it? There's lawyers, there's section this, section that.
How is it in the big corporation world? So I always wondering, like, so one of our hypothesis is that corporations need to get a little bit more like the startup spirit and need to balance like the exploration and the exploitation, so that they, on the one side, of course, have a bread and butter and business that fills the fridge. Yeah, and you need to focus on that, but you need to have like 5, 10, 15, 20%. That's our hypothesis, to be like, to have little cells that actually can evolve fast and that can do things, but they work with a different logic. Is that a thing?
Didn't Google do that?
Sorry?
I think Google did it.
A bit, yeah.
Yeah, a bit. So yeah, exactly. So how is this? Is this possible for you, the corporations you work to? Do you do that too, or is that not a thing?
Well, it's I think you can do that in a big corporation. I'm in the Baltic countries, 3 countries, what we have here, a few million people only. So it's not a real corporation when we talk about comparing to Google. So that means that the market size is so small. So all the companies who have in this region have succeeded to call themselves as a small corporation. Their revenue and sales is not huge, let's say that. I mean, they're impressive, but at the same time, you need to uphold all these systems that you have pretty much with the same amount of people that Amazon does. I mean, the systems in the background are you need the same effort.
Yeah.
If you have one customer or 100 million, I mean, only thing is the optimization of the code and the service, but the system has to be rebuilt. So you don't have enough resources to hire as many developers, for example, to have the time for them to have fun like every Friday, because you have so big lists in front of you with a limited number of people that you can afford, that it takes all the time off. So we might think that we are big countries, all 3 of here together, but it's a nice place to test your idea. So, and I always say that Estonia itself, with 1.3 million people, is a nice testing ground. If somebody's listening here that wants to validate their idea, don't go to Germany as the first market. Don't go to Poland as the first market. I mean, it's nice to have many people, and you think that you get rich right away. Well, test first. And I think Estonia is really, really good tech-savvy country that is big enough to have a really good test result, but small enough not to go bankrupt if it doesn't work. So Estonia is a nice testing ground.
very digital savvy, so a lot of people there as well. The government is very digital already, and I saw those little drones driving around already, testing it. I think it's not fully functional, but
Oh, it's functional. It's many years already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
My restaurant will start delivering with those robots when the snow melts.
Then I will
So
be
it's
then I will come to Estonia and record it. I will make another session of it.
even now, and if somebody is listening or watching us from countries that don't have snow, I mean, at the moment in Tallinn, people are skiing in the Old Town. So there's a BBC issued in their Twitter account, I think, the video clip about it. But those small little robots that deliver food to people, they are still active right now. They go through snow. I can't understand. I'm sitting with, or not anymore, I have a better car now, but if a normal car sitting in the snow can't go back and forward, and this little robot goes by you, boom. So, and it's so nice also how the robots always have some fun, like you said, those delivery robots in Estonia. If they wait for going across the street, the streets light have a button sometimes for pedestrians to go across. They don't have hands. So this robot is sitting there waiting, and if you happen to go by, it says really politely and really nicely, "Excuse me, can you please help me across the road?" Push the button. So you push the button, and then the robot says, "Thank you, and have a nice day." I mean, small things like that. Or if it's stuck in a hole, and you push them out, I said, "Oh, thank you," and goes away. I mean,
what I really like about this point is you show that you don't need to have the perfect solution. So you don't need to engineer an arm to the robot that it can use it, but just focus on the problem and get it solved in the best possible way under all the circumstances. Not what is technically the best, but really what solves the problem with the least effort. So I really like that point. And just saying, well, then let the robot speak. I would guess some programmed sentences like, "Can you help me with a traffic light?" I really love that idea. And it's a fantastic story. About also a different mindset here.
Yeah, and people like it. They feel nice. Somebody said nice things to them. They help somebody. If you help somebody, you get a warm, fuzzy feeling. So, and this also promotes the robot and everything it stands for. I mean, it's like we talked AI and robots, but now you have to embrace them and work together. This is a good example, like you said. It's working together with AI and robots, not just being afraid of them. I mean, it doesn't come and laser your head off. I mean, come on, nobody will do something like that. But those if you take this the same idea that you don't need to program an arm to push a button to this robot that delivers food, I would say the testing part for the startup, if you have something AI based generating some reports, you don't have to do that AI. You launch it and you say your system will generate you really nice report like you have done. Just push the button, then you get it in your email. But you don't program this AI because it's expensive. First, you see what kind of reports they want. You hire some students on their off time to make those reports at first.
The interns.
Yeah. And then you see the data that people want, and then you do this AI behind it. So it's cheaper to first do it with people, but the button is the same. Either you have people or the AI behind it.
So the face to the customer, or to the potential customer, is the same. Just the engine behind is like you run it differently, and of course then from people to tech to scale, like.
Yeah. Because you might know what people want, but actually nobody knows what people want. If you do it for a mass, You need to know what people are expecting. So if you program everything beforehand, it's possible to do like that, to make a product and make people like it. No, Apple did it, but if you do like a program or a service, and there has to be some reports or statistics generated, or even a bill, how you want your invoice to be done, and you can do that manually at first to see what you need to do, and then program. Otherwise, you do it again anyway because people maybe don't have what they want.
Yeah.
But one thing also that I want to point out, that in my mind, things that come into my mind are that need to be solved, the problems, where this idea for startup or a new business comes from. That's a good part. But what people want and how they want it later on should never be after the CEO of a company. If it needs to be what people want, what the person running the company wants.
So I have this phenomenon as well, that like one of the co-founders is like target group by himself or herself, and that works in early stages quite well. Yes. And some of those co-founders then get the idea that they know everything. And when they get bigger, they don't validate anymore, but they think they know. You can be the next Steve Jobs. It can be like that, but it's not so likely. Yeah. So look out into the market, and what the need of the people is.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a small example to illustrate this, what I'm thinking also, and what you said. On a little different level of the business, let's take marketing. If a CEO is driving a car and listening to his or her favorite radio station all the time, then he goes to the office, to marketing. You should put to that radio, it's really good radio, this commercial. And then hears it when going to work, this commercial coming from the radio, and really happy. And then thinking, why are we not making any money? Because it's a niche radio and maybe, I don't know, five people listen to it. So, but CEO told the marketing, you have to do it. So they did it. So, and also I think one of the best things that about how to run a company in general, I've heard summarized by Jack Ma, the former CEO and the owner of shareholder of Ali Group. He said in one seminar really nicely what his job is. His job is to hire always smarter people than he is. And second job is make geniuses work together. So the environment, environment and the teamwork and organize that. Make strategies is the third one. And then when you go forward to it, then somebody else put a little bit on top of it. Now look, those three tasks of CEO tasks. If you have something in your desk or in your calendar that you need to do, if you can't put it under one of those 3 points, it's not your job.
Interesting. So to turn it around and to really structure your day as a CEO, as a co-founder, like that.
You don't need to micromanage your marketing guy. And if you need to tell marketing how to do things, then you hire the wrong person. Simple as that. So if the CEO is also, I wrote a small article in LinkedIn just recently about it, how I think that the CEO of a company or the manager of a company is like a conductor in front of an orchestra. You need to know each instrument, how it's played, in order to conduct or direct them. But you don't have to be the best in the world in it. The person behind that instrument is the best in the world, or so much better than the person waving the hands in front. But their job in front is to make them all be sync and work together well. That's the CEO. I mean, how much more do you need to write down the job? I mean, you don't need to know more about some things in your orchestra than the person you hired there. you need to understand what they talk. It's good to understand a little bit of tech lingo, and you need to understand a little bit of marketing about everything. But how marketing should be done should come from marketing.
I really like this picture that you have been given, because it's very clear and very simple.
No problem in corporations. The problem is that it's never simple.
Yeah, and so we imagine. So I had, of course, discussions with CEOs, with other CEOs too, and when you're in sales and so on, and from some entrepreneurial friends, often to get into those kind of positions, you need to be a power person. Alphas is sometimes said, and those kind of people want to have control over everything, and they do it exactly like the different way that you said. They don't let marketing allow, but they tell marketing what to do. And if it's a success, it was his or her success, but if it's a failure, it was the failure of the marketing. So people, like the head of marketing, changes every like 1 year or something. They burn people through this process. That what I figured out about.
But
exactly.
This is not the only companies. I mean, I have a small experience after my college time. I was 4 years in government system. I was advisor to Minister of Estonia. I will not include who, but I was working for Estonian government as a counselor to one of the ministers, cabinet members. So when government decided to fund some projects, if it was a positive answer, always the minister called. If it was declined, I called. So people already knew Toomas is calling OPA. Sorry.
That's all good. That's all good. It's a very nice example. Yeah, how things often work in these environments.
Yeah, if you have seen the famous TV series, yes, Mr. Minister, and later yes, Mr. Prime Minister.
Yes.
Then this is how the life in all governments work.
This is actually very famous on TikTok at the moment, like with these like little snippets of the series. I'm going to see them all, you know. So
it's famous for you.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point, because everyone is her bubble, and for me,
I have not seen it.
Yeah, because as you pointed out, TikTok is all about you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your bubble.
So it's in your bubble. Yes. It's within the group of people who have liked it, because it even counts the seconds how long you look at it before you swipe. You don't have to like it. I mean, it's fantastic how it generates the. We came back to where we started.
Yeah.
But yes, this is famous for you.
I mean, it's like I find that as well interesting. Talking a little bit tech language now, that the algorithm behind is how, like, when you say like I don't know, there was something, and we know something like that called MySpace, where there was some first algorithm behind it. You wouldn't call it like that today, but it was in a sense, and that evolved over Facebook, over Instagram, and now with TikTok, where it's all about you. So it became, in a way, you said personalization is AI too, like in e-commerce or something, and it is always more like, yeah, always more tech surrounds you as well. Those little digital temples we have, I like to call them, they are made to fit us, to be our friends, and to be there in one way that is super exciting and to embrace, but as well, on the other side, you always have to go out of your bubble, step back, change perspective, to, I would say, ask the kind of questions that you are asking. What's the problem? How can it help us? And how can tech help me with that?
Yeah, I mean, you summarized it good. This is the way it should work. But we talk about how it should be done, but maybe we're all wrong.
For us, it's right.
Yeah, but maybe we are all three of us. We are wrong. We don't know. That's also something that you need to keep your eyes open. I mean,
Yeah.
Something that we know works now or we think is good now is not working tomorrow, maybe. So if you look at the algorithm, like you said, in MySpace, let's say, like it has like a TikTok, or what, all of them have some AI behind it. And now maybe TikTok went to another way, not looking your friends, but only you. It's your bubble. Soon everybody will do that. But maybe it's not a good thing. We look at it's amazing, but later on you're in your bubble. You don't see anything else. You don't know what your friends are doing. So we put people more into bubble. We say that people are with their phones all the time and they don't even talk to people like we did when we were kids. But maybe this is good for business, but not good for humanity. We always have to question ourselves as well. I think every day I question my decisions and my ideas. If I know that I know nothing. I mean, I know a little bit, but I'm not the wise guy in my book.
I mean, what this triggers now with me is also the question. I mean, there are a lot of tools out there in innovation, creativity, etc. And of course, everybody has her favorite tools. But let's take something like a design sprint. Of course, there are some good arguments in favor of a design sprint, but there's really little evidence that it is really a great tool, like that you can achieve something much better, much faster, etc. There is little evidence so far that this is really a very good tool. And that's also what I'm taking from. I mean, we believe in our tools. There are good arguments, but it also might just be in our bubble. So, not saying
go ahead.
Not saying that the design sprint is bad, but for some of the tools, I think it's also important to move forward and really get really more hard evidence that they help and under which circumstances. They will also not work for every case. So being really more explicit and going away from all the buzzwords around it and looking really, okay, what is it really a good tool? In which cases is it a good tool? And being really more about evidence also with the tools.
But at the same time, you don't need evidence. I mean, you have to have your ideas and you have to question yourself. You need to test. If you go wrong, you turn. I'll give you another example from my childhood. I don't know if you guys had it, but we had those small motorcycles that really tiny engines that was open and you had no manual on it. Or if the manual was there, it was in Russian that nobody understood. So it didn't work well. I mean, it didn't sound good. It wasn't optimal sound for this small motorbike. So you had the screws there. You turned it a little bit, you listen. Oh, it went bad. You turn it back. Let's try this one. That's internet business right now. You turn those screws and it goes wrong, you turn it back. And you try another screw. And when the sound is good, then it works. So if you have those tools that you use for designing and planning, you are boxed inside that tool. And maybe you don't need that tool. Maybe you need a whiteboard or a chalk and a concrete, whatever. And so if I would always say that to start making a startup, you don't need to have money. You can take a piece of paper and a pen, write it down. You will, if the idea is good enough, you'll find somebody who will digitalize it or whatever you do. The idea is the thing that matters. I mean, people say that don't invent the wheel. Come on, why not?
Yeah, good one.
But if I may just jump on that idea, because what I see, especially with startups, in many cases, that there is this path that you need to be very fast in scaling, etc., 10x, etc., like this mantra. What I take from you is a little bit like, well, prove your case first. You don't need money. Just prove that this is really a good idea and that there will be enough market, and then try to get money for it. In many cases, I have the impression like, okay, this sounds like a good idea. Here you have plenty of money, and then go forward. So also, I see this throw a lot of money and then go forward is in many cases currently a common approach. But does it make sense? I don't think so.
I don't think so too. And also one thing that is counted, by the way, it is the same point. Startups say that we grew so much. Now we had 10 people working. Now we have 2,000. Yeah. I'm saying you go the wrong way. You should tell me that you have grown 1,000 times with the same 10 people. Then I would be
yeah.
Watch out, startups, for that. We are coming to the end of this.
Oh, really?
Yes, we just have 5 more minutes, and I would like somehow. So I mean, I really love the talk and the discussions we have. I can say that I'm going back to Estonia on my digital nomad journey in summer. I will eat in a fantastic Thai restaurant, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more of this discussion. Thank you very, very much for your thoughts, your insights, what you have revealed. It was a very interesting discussion. I learned a lot today again. And I'm happy to have you maybe a second time. If one of your startups go from stealth mode into a more mode where we can talk about it, we would love to advertise it and test it and try it ourselves.
Yes.
Thomas, thank you very much. To all our listeners, this was Marcus and Alex from the Blitzmarmelade with a fantastic talk with Thomas. Bye.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.